This is Neon Squad Tactics, a single and multiplayer turn-based strategy game where you control an elite squad of operators working for various corporations in and around Ultra City. This releases June 13th, 2024 for the Quest 2 and up headsets for $20 US, and for this review, we checked the game out on the Quest 3. Looking to play a tactics-style game on a holographic tabletop in a cyberpunk bar with a set of robot DJs? Well, if that's what you're looking for, then that's kinda weird. But here we go. Hello operators, before we get to it, if you enjoy this video, leaving us a thumbs up really helps us out, subscribing keeps you up to date on our content, and if you're so inclined, leave us a comment with your thoughts on this release. I'm Ryan for the VR Grid, now let's do this. I love Tin Man Games' first title, Table of Tales: The Crooked Crown, as it almost perfectly captures the look and feel of a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, offering up a fun and engaging narrative. Neon Squad retains that tabletop action, but opts for more focus on gameplay as the overarching story is little more than set up for the various missions you'll send your squad on. I'm not gonna lie, I'm disappointed the developers went so hard in this direction, as I really enjoyed Table of Tales' story, and it did take me a few hours before I started to appreciate Neon Squad for what it is. As I mentioned, the game takes place in a futuristic bar, complete with a robot bartender, with all the action happening on a large holographic table, while nearby stations allow you to purchase, unlock, and upgrade new operators and abilities. There are a few currencies to contend with, depending on which unlock or upgrade you are going for, with each mission breaking down your reward should you be successful. It's a good system with plenty of options, and the 8 characters have some distinct abilities, making it fun to mix things up, and to see what each can bring to the table. Just make sure they aren't too low level, as the mission difficulty spikes quite fast. Speaking of difficulty, each of the 31 stages can be played on easy, medium, or hard, and modifiers can be placed in the setup area to help or hinder your efforts, decreasing or increasing your victory loot. There was definitely some work put into the difficulty, as ramping up the challenge made each encounter feel somewhat unique, with foes having more health, dealing more damage, and coming in larger numbers, making the 30 stages feel more like 90, with one caveat. There is a 3-star system in place, though each star is for which difficulty you beat the stage on, and should you beat any level on the hardest difficulty, you still only get that single star, meaning to 3-star the game, you'll have to play through every difficulty level, on every stage, which feels a little silly. Classic tabletop gameplay is here, with each character getting 2 actions per turn, be it moving, attacking, or using other abilities. Grabbing and moving your little figurines is simple enough, with all your abilities mapped to a floating menu over your forearm. It's an intuitive enough system that works near flawlessly, and I'm a little surprised that hand tracking wasn't used here, as it would work perfectly with the control scheme in question, and was added to their previous title, but not a big deal. You can move around the bar using typical VR controls, or you can use the grip button to grab at the air and drag your body around the map, allowing you to change your height, turn, and make more finite movements should you want the perfect view of the action. It's easy enough to purchase new stuff and customize your operators, with the game encouraging replaying previous stages on harder difficulties to get that much needed loot to chip away at the next mission. Thankfully, should you feel like you've hit a wall, 4-player online co-op is an option, allowing you and friends to tackle a mission together using your own custom mercenaries. You can host or join a room, though if you join, you won't progress in your own game should you beat any stages, but you will get all that sweet loot, so it should make your own efforts a little easier. This is where the game shines, as the fun factor ramps up substantially when coordinating an attack or defense strategy with other people. The potential extra money between players could also allow for the purchase of more drinks at the bar, which can be poured onto the table to heal your operators or deal extra damage to the enemies, making the overall game just a little easier, but rarely is the game easy. On more than a few occasions, especially during the latter half of the game, and on those harder difficulties, I failed often, forcing me to rethink my strategies and loadouts, go back and replay previous levels to upgrade my troops, or just use those modifiers and beverages to make things a little easier. I really appreciate just how many options I had when I hit these walls, and it speaks well to the amount of depth Neon Squad has when it comes to tactics style gameplay. I'm not saying it's the most in-depth strategy game I've ever played, but it feels very well balanced for both casual and more hardcore players. It's a shame then that the game just doesn't look that good. It doesn't look awful, but everything looks much more low poly than I would expect from a 2024 Quest title, with almost everything looking bland and washed out. I'm assuming this was an artistic choice to fit the cyberpunk aesthetic, but I don't think it was the right decision. Heck, even the bar you're in doesn't fare any better, with the hues used making everything look dull. Your robot bartender will move about and fix drinks, there's 2 holographic DJs mixing beats beside the bar, and in general, there's enough stuff moving to make the VR space feel lively, it just doesn't look like it. As for the tabletop, it's a large circular table that will load up the setup area and stage, building the next level before your eyes, which is fun enough, though once any stage is loaded, they never look that good. Static lighting effects and flat textures don't do these stage designs any favors, and the color palette used just had me thinking throughout my time in the game, why doesn't this look better? Counter to the environments are the player and enemy models, which do look better by comparison, animating when called to action, and carrying enough details to make them look distinct enough. I'm probably sounding a little harsher than I intend to here, but both Chris and I were perplexed as to why this didn't look better, though once you get past the visuals, the gameplay should keep you playing. Speaking of odd choices, the audio design in here is all over the map, with some very chill synth music playing that is so chill, it doesn't quite fit the gameplay, with each track sounding so similar that I had to go back and double check to make sure there was more than one song in here. There is, but they're all so low key that I was wishing for some more upbeat and intense music to hype me up for the next encounter. The voice acting in Neon Squad could be better, with your handler sounding rather amateurish in her delivery, but given that she's a robot, it's somewhat forgivable. But the voice acting for your operators is hit and very miss. The robot guys sound alright, but the rest don't sound great and repeat the same few lines over and over every time they are called to action. The worst offender is the goop creature that is, I hope, designed to mock current youth culture, as it spouts out annoying slang terms with every action and is nothing short of grating, which sucks, as I found it to be the most effective operator.
My pixels are fading fast, but at least I'll respawn with a fresh avatar. Lol. Even in death, my hive shall thrive.
Sound effects are just fine, with the various weapons, enemies, and explosions all doing their job well enough, but the overall presentation and first impressions may chase more casual players away. Neon Squad is by no means a bad game, and I'll go so far as to say it's a good game. I just feel like the choices made in both audio and visual design really hurt the overall appeal. I missed a more fleshed out story, but once I moved past that, I really appreciated the gameplay. It's a solid turn-based strategy title, very much in the vein of Demeo, and a great one to play with friends. I honestly found the game loop to be addicting, whether I played alone or not, and it's worth the release date price despite my issues. I'm going to give Neon Squad Tactics a 7 out of 10. It's like a cyberpunk Demeo. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to do all the YouTube things to help us out, and that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching.
All my weapons are flame.
We totally have this!